We once read on social media a Chilean boasting about how Santiago, Chile is the best city in the world, in which he claimed that within 1 hour you could be lost in the great Andean mountains, or within about 2 hours you could find yourself at some of the best beaches in the world. And after experiencing Santiago, the mountains, and the beach, this statement has been confirmed and validated. This is a glimpse of the metropolitan mesh of Viña Del Mar that integrates neatly with Valparaiso, Concón, and many other cities within the vicinity. Here you can jump into the bitter cold ocean, walk the shoreline from Valparaiso through Viña Del Mar into Concón, or even further if you'd like. Seriously, Chile only has 4,000 miles of coastline to discover. See the surfers glide across the water while you lay out on the beach, eat incredibly delicious food, and watch the sunset display its vibrant array of colors across the open sky, ocean, sand dunes, cityscapes, and mountain ranges that stretch further than your little eyes can see. Recently, we have decided to live absolutely nowhere and to live everywhere. We moved from the United States to Colombia in December 2021, spent 2 years in Colombia moving from place to place to place inside the country, and recently we've decided, hey, we're gonna check out some other countries, some other cities, and see what they're like. And we are trying to answer a question, a really big question in our own lives at this point in time, and that is, where do we want to end up? We have no idea where we want to end up, where we want to live in the long run. And that's given us a unique opportunity, though, to really go to these different places and cities and just go to them with open arms, without expectation, without much knowledge of those places. And Valparaiso, Viña del Mar, and Concón in Chile was one of those places, just for a weekend. So that's why we're making this video.
Growing up, I watched the Viña Del Mar festival, which is like a song festival that hosts different Latin American countries. And so we would watch videos and news about the festival, and sometimes they would show shots of the city, and it would look very, very nice. Like there were like really luxurious apartments and buildings, and like the expectation that I had for the city was a place that looked kind of like uppity and very, very nice.
And the only expectations I had were what I found on Google, because I really didn't know anything about the place. What I liked was that it was only about an hour and a half away driving from Santiago, Chile, which is where we were staying for a month. And I'm like, it looked like an awesome beach from the pictures. And I also kind of knew, geographically speaking, that the water would likely be cold, just like the Oregon and Washington coast, just because I have family in those areas and I have a lot of memories as a child jumping into the cold ocean of the Pacific coast. And that's exactly what the water felt like in that area. Demographically speaking, Valparaiso is the second largest city in Chile, and the Valparaiso region and metropolitan area is made up of multiple cities, Viña del Mar, Concón, and many others. So when we got to this beach, I was thinking beach town, right? It was like more like beach city. It was like really big. But we really only spent time in those three different cities, and they felt all very, very different. But it's
very
a city
well connected.
Yeah, very well connected. I mean, you could Uber between them. It was great.
Transport.
But where did we decide to stay?
So this was a weekend getaway, a romantic getaway. It was like almost vacation for us. And we wanted to stay at somewhere that was a little bit more luxurious and more comfortable than our Santiago apartment. So we decided to stay in
Concón.
Concon.
Out of the 3 locations, Concón. And the reason why was because we looked at the Airbnbs that were in the locations, and we noticed that the Concón area had really nice buildings and really nice views. And I was like, that's what I want for just 2 nights. We still didn't choose one of the higher end ones, like in terms of price. We still aimed for like $70 a night, which I still think was great. And we were like at the 22nd floor. We're overlooking the dune, the Concón dunes, and we could see the ocean, and it was so cool to see. So we loved it. It was a very peaceful area. We also heard it was as party oriented like Valparaiso.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So that's why we chose Concón.
The only touristy activity that we cared to pay for was visiting the Pablo Neruda house in Valparaiso. And we had already gone to the one in Santiago, and I really, really, really enjoyed it. So I decided that we needed to go to the Valparaiso one because I grew up reading Pablo Neruda. Like when I was a teenager, I liked reading his poems, and I just kind of wanted to understand more of like the cultural significance that he had in Chile.
Yeah, and for me, I'm a gringo white boy, so I knew nothing about the dude. So, so it was neat to learn about his cultural and political significance for the country. He is loved by many, but not completely loved by many either. So I highly suggest going to any of his houses and learning about the guy. We can't record inside the houses, so it is a unique experience because they're like, nope, you can't record, you can't take pictures. So I highly suggest checking out any one of his houses. He's got one in Santiago, in Valparaiso, and Isla Negra.
Negra.
Yeah.
It was the only touristy activity that we decided to pay for besides some buggies. Because we had already blown up the budget. So if you're interested in checking out our monthly budget for Santiago, Chile, we'll link up the video so you can check that out.
Yes, because the budget was tight, we decided to do more free things, which is pretty easy to do in the Viña Del Mar, Valparaiso, Concon area, and that is basically walk the beach, hang out on the beach. I think that's the whole major attraction of that area. The beach is very, very nice. And there's also like a paved walkway, which I like because I don't always enjoy walking on sand. So you can just walk it, you can bike it. We saw people running, just participating in their sporty activities for the day. So that made just the weekend getaway there so, so pleasing and so pleasant. Another thing that we did is we stopped and we jumped on the buggies. They had
Well,
like,
that was a very, very spontaneous thing. We saw a couple of kids and one adult just kind of like struggling on the buggies. And we were like, okay, let's just do the buggies. And it was actually really fun. And then this always happens whenever we do these kid-like activities. Then more adults join after like they see people like
yeah,
us
it's like we
doing
have
it.
this ability to like release the inner child in people.
Yes.
So, on the note of releasing your inner child, we saw a lot of mostly children jumping into the cold ocean, but we were like, we got to do it. We know it's cold. We dipped our feet in the water, but we got to get completely into the water. And yeah, it was like jumping into like, I don't know, 45 degree Fahrenheit water. Ooh,
I don't know,
it's
it
so
was
cold.
shocking, and I've never jumped into a cold ocean, so it was memorable.
Yeah, my childhood experiences was experiencing water just like that. So I was completely prepared for it. But when it was like freaking out, she's more used to like the Colombian beaches,
Caribbean
Caribbean.
waters where it's like nice and warm.
Yeah, it's refreshing and cool when you jump in the
Yes.
water versus freezing cold.
The highlight of the trip was the Concon dunes, and for many, many reasons. But why was it for you?
For me, it was just getting up on the dune and having this amazing view of watching the sunset because we went there on Saturday night to watch the sunset. And it was just cool to see how the sun was glowing against the mountains that you could just see as far as your eyes could see. And also the city. So it was like mountains, ocean, big dune, just an amazing view. I mean, I loved it for that. And we woke up the next morning and also walked around the dune in the morning. But there was also a problem.
Yes. So we were just, releasing our inner child and just being silly and playing. And then we were like, kind of like making each other trip and fall. And at some moment, I don't know what we did, but I did tell Johnny, hey, something weird happened to my knee. But we didn't pay much attention to it. But later in Patagonia,
Yeah.
it would reveal
This was
itself.
the weekend. Yeah, this was the weekend before Patagonia, which was about like, yeah, it created an issue. But stay tuned for that. So out of the three cities, Valparaiso, Viña del Mar, and Concón, which one would we live in? I mean, this is a big question we're trying to answer to ourselves, so we can't help but entertain from this just short weekend experience, which of the three would we enjoy more of a longer stay in? So which one?
So first, let's begin with Valparaiso. A lot of
Okay.
people told us to go there to visit Valparaiso because of like the vibes and like the party and like just the place. But we also got a lot of recommendations to be more careful in that area because, there were a little bit more robbings and blah, blah, blah. Just be more aware of your safety.
Yeah, for Valparaiso, the thing that you hear people say, it's bohemian vibes, so more of that historical feel, more of that grungy feel, more of that hippie feel. They also looked like they had a lot of restaurants and really nice restaurants, places to go drink and that kind of thing. But it was more grungy than I expected. And I don't know, every time I read bohemian vibes online anywhere, I'm like, okay, I'll probably enjoy it for a few hours, but I don't think I could live in it. So
Yeah, it's more like party driven, and that's just not our life anymore.
no, not at all. But as we walked north to Viña Del Mar felt way more family oriented. I mean, we saw a lot of families, showing up to the bus station because we did bus from Santiago to Viña Del Mar, and it just seemed like people were out and about enjoying the normal things a family would do, eating out, hanging out on the beach. But it also felt a really touristy, much so more
Very, very touristy.
in the Viña del Mar area. But as we got into Concon, which was a little bit more of a stretch, a little bit further up from Viña del Mar, things kind of died down and was a little bit more upscale.
But a little more peaceful. Like, we walked a lot in Concon and we barely saw people. It was just very quiet, very clean, very, very approachable for what we like to enjoy. It also had like that mix of like, the outdoors, so like the dunes with like the city vibes, so like the nice high-rise buildings and the restaurants. And that's the one that we enjoyed the most.
So if we had to choose,
It would be Concon.
it'd be Concon. Also, a big highlight is the fact that Concon, also being so developed, more developed and nicer looking than the rest of like Viña del Mar and Valparaiso, at least that specific section, is that there was a Jumbo nearby. And I know that sounds silly, but Jumbo is a grocery store. It's a Latin American grocery store. It's a Chilean grocery store. They have them in Colombia as well. And that's one of our favorite grocery stores because they just have like a good variety of like produce and things that we typically look for.
Produce and imported things and variety of like fermented stuff and just
Yeah.
a lot of the things we like to eat.
And then there was a Colombian gym, Body Tech, which is one of my favorite gyms, period. And they had a Body Tech right next to the gym. I was just walking right there. So I'm like, I could totally see myself spending a month or two in the Concon area. And when I want to go check out the bohemian vibes of Valparaiso, I could just Uber down there or take a really long walk to get down there, or enjoy the beach that's part of Viña del Mar. But yeah, we really liked Concon.
Thank you for watching. If you are from Chile or from the Viña del Mar, Valparaiso, Concon area, comment below what you think we missed out and what you think we should do next time when we visit. Thank you.
The water is freezing. Oh my god, it is like ice cold. It's
It's so good. It's so good.
Oh, that undertow is strong. That's a strong undertow, man. And people are in here.
This is how far I want to go.
You gotta get in.
No,
You gotta get
I'm
in.
not gonna get
You
in.
gotta get in. Get in. If I go in, you gotta go in. Okay, hold this. Make sure you hold it good.
Real fast. That's what I read. So.
Make sure I don't my phone.
You want me to go? Oh. Oh.
Okay, let's do it. Oh. Okay, the initial shock is gone, so I'm gonna go a little bit more.
It's quite cold for me.
Okay, you go. You gotta go. You gotta do it.
I don't want to go that far though.
Yeah, you don't need to because like it gets pretty steep and it sinks real fast.
I want to stay here and just go chin.
Yeah, here comes this wave right here. Huh? Yeah, the undertow's really strong. Someone, yeah. Afterward, you feels kind of nice, right?
Yeah.
That's a bigger wave right there. That's what we want.
That's what we want.
It pulls back pretty hard for this. So here we go.
I'm done.
That's all.
Oh.
That just made my day right there. That person screaming.
It's pretty damn calm. I'm done.